This news exclusively on CBS News. The Biden administration is considering a plan to allow some Palestinian refugees to come here to the United States. That's according to internal federal government documents that were obtained by CBS's Camilo Montoya Galvez. According to the plan, some Palestinians fleeing the war would be offered a permanent safe haven here in the U.S. And one option under consideration is to allow those who have immediate family members who are either American citizens or permanent residents to enter the country if they pass various background checks first. The plans would require coordination with Egypt, which has so far refused to allow large numbers of people from Gaza to cross the border into that country.
But it should be no surprise that in addition to the millions and millions of people invading our country from the border, Crooked Joe is now reportedly planning, this is wonderful news for you people in Wisconsin, to bring massive numbers of Gazans from the Middle East all live to your American towns, your towns and villages. Your towns and villages will now be accepting people from Gaza, lots of people from Gaza. And various other places, Yemen, lots of other places. You know, just let the world simmer down a little bit, please. He's now delivering thousands. He just announced last night he's going to deliver thousands of people to a town near you. Joe Biden seems he's just determined to create the conditions for an October 7th style attack right here in America. It's going to happen with all of these people coming in from the southern border, and you saw the 2 months ago where it was announced, here we are, they're trying to maybe stop. And Border Patrol's incredible, by the way, and ICE is incredible. They want to stop it, but they're told not to. Stand down, they're told. But did you see where, and nobody knew this, that for a year and a half they've been actually flying planes in and landing in towns all over the country, and they're flying them in by the thousands. They're flying them in going over the border. They are flying them in.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I gotta tell you guys, the mainstream liberal media really tricked, bamboozled, and hoodwinked a lot of people in this country, especially when it comes to this idea that when Trump leaves office, that the world will be a much better place because the adults are back in charge, right? America is back, according to the mainstream liberal media. This is what they said. But empirically speaking, ever since Joe Biden has taken over our foreign policy, the world seems to be a much worse place, okay? The world is on fire, okay? We're involved in multiple wars. I mean, we may go into World War III, who knows, okay? And all of this is happening under the leadership of Joe Biden, because in my opinion, I think that Joe Biden and his diplomacy leaves a lot to be desired. And we have some proof and evidence of such in regards to how Joe Biden handles doing business and speaking with foreign leaders who disagree with him when it comes to policy. Well, he does what the left and Democrats like to do to anybody that doesn't agree with them. You just smear them as a bigot, right? You say that they're hateful because they don't agree with Democrats and things that they want to do. And that is what Joe Biden essentially said about the country of Japan and their leadership, which is that they are xenophobic for not wanting to accept more illegal immigrants into their country as a way to improve their economy. Take a look.
You know, there's sort of a new law, the laws of physics that can't change. There's sort of economic laws of physics that are occurring now. You cannot succeed as a country if you leave more than half of your brain power on the sidelines. Not a joke. Not a joke. Look what's going on. Look what's going on in Japan. Japan is in a position where traditionally women are as well educated as men, but the tradition was once they had a child, they were to drop out of the job market. Well, I spent a lot of time with President Abe as vice president, and guess what? It's called Abe economics. They're talking about it. We're calling it. And that is, there's an entire move because they are xenophobic, because they don't want to invite other people from outside their country to come in and make up the workforce. They have fewer workers than they have a need for workers. And so what they've done is they've decided to encourage women to stay in the job market.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Okay, unfortunately, we have the alleged commander-in-chief saying out loud at a campaign event that a country cannot economically succeed using only half of their brain. Well, I would argue that a country also can't succeed when you have a leader who has no brain, right? Which is Joe Biden, because this was a brainless, mindless comment from Joe Biden to openly accuse a U.S. ally of hate and bigotry, xenophobia, because they don't want to do things the American way. I meant the Democrat way, because it's not the American way to just allow illegal immigrants to invade our country, which is what the Biden administration is doing, okay? He is allowing illegals to invade the country because part of the reason why they think that it's good for the country economically to do so. So he's essentially arguing to Japan that, hey, you need to let illegals into your country in order to improve your economy. And what's funny about that is that if you actually look at the 2023 real GDP growth of European countries that are very friendly towards migrants and illegal immigrants, I'm not necessarily sure if what Joe Biden is talking about is actually law, okay? Because he's implying that it is an economic law, that the more illegals that you let into your country, the better off your economy is going to be, the more your economy is going to grow. Because, you know, Japan certainly definitely has its issues in regards to an aging population and the need to support that aging population with workers, with young people. And they definitely need to do something about their birth rate problem because their country is dying as a result of low birth rates. However, I'm not sure if the automatic solution to the birth rate issue is to import illegal immigrants, right? That seems to be what the United States is doing in regards to our issue. They're saying, well, we're just going to import illegals. And again, Joe Biden is negatively judging Japan, calling them xenophobic for not doing what we're doing. But anyways, again, if you look at the GDP growth of a lot of these European countries, like, for example, Germany, France, the UK, again, a lot of these places that, love to allow illegal immigrants into their country. The GDP growth wasn't that great compared to Japan, which grew at 1.9%. Now, the European Union grew at 0.6%, and Europe overall grew at 1%. And furthermore, when you look at other countries that Joe Biden accused of xenophobia, like China and Russia, claiming that, hey, they're having such a hard time growing because they're xenophobic. They also outpaced Europe and the European Union in GDP growth. In fact, Russia outpaced the United States. Despite all these sanctions that we put on Russia, it seems as if we're actually helping the Russian economy grow. China grew at 5.2%. So again, China is outpacing the illegal immigrant-friendly Europe and the United States as well, too, in GDP growth. But according to Biden, though, they're struggling economically to grow because they're xenophobic. He also threw India under the bus, too, as well, too. India, they grew at 7.8%, right? 7.8%. So again, Joe Biden, at this event, said that you look at one of the reasons why our economy is growing is because you and many others. Why? Because we welcome immigrants, Biden said, according to reporters traveling with the president at a fundraiser with Asian American and Pacific Islander supporters. Quote, the reason, think about it, is why China's stalling so bad economically. Why is Japan having trouble? Why is Russia? Because they're xenophobic, he said. They don't want immigrants. Immigrants are what makes us strong. Wow. Incredible stuff. Absolutely incredible stuff. He also said the Chinese, they're xenophobic. They don't want any. The Russians, they don't want to have people other than Russians, Chinese, or Japanese, the president said at the time. So again, this guy has been, smearing countries all over the world as bigoted and xenophobic for not going along with America's open border policies. So if, illegal immigrants were so great for the economy, and if it is like economic law, which is what Joe Biden is saying there, then you would think that Europe would have done much better than Japan in regards to growth last year. But that certainly is not the case. Again, Japan has its problems, but I'm not sure if the way that they should solve their problems is by allowing illegal immigrants into their country and changing the culture of that country. Surely they don't want to be like the United States too much in the sense that we've allowed illegals to come into this country and essentially change America. Okay, we have basically 2 languages now, right? You need to know English and Spanish, or at least some Spanish, to get around some parts of the United States, right? I'm sure the Japanese wants to keep their country clean, which it is extremely clean. They want to keep it safe, which it's very safe. And they want to continue to speak one language and to have a homogenous society and culture, all things that the United States does not have and has caused us a lot of problems and issues, right? I'm sure Japan does not want America's problems, but, we have Joe Biden trying to export America's problems to other countries. Now, I want you guys to contrast how Joe Biden handles dealing with foreign leadership versus a real leader like Trump, who recently met with former Prime Minister of Japan, Taro Aso, at Trump Tower.
From Japan, many from Japan.
That's too bad.
Very popular man, you know that, right? That's great, great. You look well. We'll go up, have a little talk. Any questions or anything?
What do you think about the significance of Mr. Aso coming all over to pay a visit to you at this time around?
Well, he's a highly respected man in Japan and beyond, and somebody that I've liked and I've known through our very dear friend, right, Shinzo. We love Shinzo.
Yes.
And who was a great man, by the way. He was a great, great man. But we got to know each other, we like each other, and we'll be talking about Japan and the United States right now, and lots of other things also. But highly respected. It's a great honor to have him.
What is your message to the Japanese people?
To the people of Japan,
Yes.
it's a great country. You're doing very well. Shinzo was a great friend of mine. He was truly a great man and somebody that we all respected and we really loved. And I miss him greatly. But we really admire the people of Japan. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Any plans for tomorrow, Mr. President?
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that, okay? Everybody can clearly and obviously see the difference, the stark contrast between Joe Biden and former President Trump. Former President Trump is a real diplomat, okay? Look at the way he handled that situation. He praised their people. He praised their country. He didn't say anything negative. He didn't call them bigots, xenophobes, this and that, because, we may have some disagreements here and there. He actually handled the situation the way that you would expect the leader of the United States of America to handle a meeting with another foreign leader, okay? To not be adversarial to a foreign leader simply because they don't want to do everything that we want to do, or we might not necessarily agree on everything. But, you have Joe Biden in office. Again, he's out there calling, the leaders of foreign countries that are our allies xenophobes, and out here calling Putin a murderer and all types of things that he's saying. And again, listen, here's the thing. I know some people may think that Putin's a murderer or whatnot, and that's totally fine. But I'm just saying, as the leader of the United States of America, if you're trying to engage in foreign relations with another leader, it might be a good idea to ratchet down the insults, right? To actually, try to play nice to get what you want, right? It's no wonder that the country went to hell in a handbasket as soon as Joe Biden took office, because look at the way that he engages in diplomacy. But this is par for the course when it comes to warmongering American politicians, right? This is why I much rather see businessmen like a President Trump in office rather than a career politician like Joe Biden, because Joe Biden's never engaged in business, right? He doesn't understand how to conduct business in Asia, how to speak to these people, how to go about trying to, engage in foreign relations with these. No, he doesn't understand it at all. He doesn't care. Joe Biden, his whole life, has been nothing but a DC swamp creature. And if you look at old clips of Joe Biden and how he talks to people, you can see why, again, the world is on fire, because this guy doesn't know how to be cordial. He doesn't know how to engage in diplomacy in a way that is going to help both sides come to some type of agreement about what they want to do that's going to be mutually beneficial. He doesn't know how to do that. Okay, the only thing he knows how to do is to call you a bigot, right? If you disagree with him. Again, which is par for the course when it comes to the left and their tactics. But Trump, on the other hand, because he's a businessman, because he understands how to negotiate, how to engage with foreign leaders, okay, and leaders in business, he knows that, okay, well, we have to find a solution that works for everybody, right? He naturally works that way. And this is why you saw that when Trump was in office, we had more peace in the world, because we weren't out here trying to just start conflicts with people just for the sake of starting conflicts, which is what American politicians do. But again, when you have somebody like Trump, who, again, his standard mode of operation is to conduct business, you have to get along, right? You have to come to an agreement on things that are going to be mutually beneficial. Even if you don't get everything that you want, the final outcome is going to be best for both parties. And I think the way that Trump engages in foreign policy, is dramatically different than the way that, traditional American politicians engage in foreign policy. And I think that you can see the difference between how Trump interacts with foreign leaders versus somebody like a Joe Biden. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.